Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Cloud is Calling. We are here with my fantastic colleague, Shay Careau, who heads up our cloud marketplace team inside of Trace3. Shay, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing pretty well. How are
Well,
you?
actually,
Thanks for having me.
it's morning where you are, right?
It
East
is
Coast,
it
West
is
Coast. I
morning
know,
where
the
I am.
great time
Yeah.
zones.
Still trying to drink my coffee,
There you go.
brain
I already
awake.
downed my coffee. Appreciate you coming on the show. Macro worldview, right? We know a lot of companies are looking at real world events. The economy is kind of starting to take a few steps back. And we've already seen some of our clients starting to look towards cloud marketplace as a potential avenue to get creative with certain things. So I want to start out by asking you what made cloud providers really invest in the cloud marketplace, and why are partners putting their offerings out there?
Yeah, I think cloud marketplace I think this is more of a natural progression. I don't think that this is anything that we're not familiar with already. I mean, this is how we as consumers procure our stuff anyways. Like why would that not translate into the way that we procure technology, right? So, I think in the cloud provider's mindset, they want to provide like a one-stop shop for all of their customers' needs, and they know that they can't do that without partners, right? So, they're now incentivizing and asking partners to lean in and create custom service offerings that the providers would not otherwise be able to offer, and they're expanding the ecosystem of what our customers can potentially procure. So it's pretty awesome.
It's been fantastic. We've seen already some clients take massive advantage of the cloud marketplace. You talked about incentives. What are some of the things that each of the hyperscalers slash cloud providers, using that term, are offering their customers if they decide to procure software, contracts, other various things through the marketplace?
Yeah, there are a couple of things. I mean, credits are a huge thing, right? So net new customers coming into AWS or any of the cloud provider marketplaces, they're incentivized by tons of thousands of dollars in credits to be able to like just try out the marketplace, get them familiar with it. Another thing is, retiring or buy down against their commit contracts. So that's also a huge incentive to customers. As they're migrating to the cloud and they're signing these, multi-million dollar commit contracts. We've got AWS EDP, the Azure MAC, the Google commit contract, to be able to buy down whatever they're purchasing through the marketplace. So, like, let's say a customer goes and buys a third party product, it's worth $100,000. They get to then retire that $100,000 against that $1 million contract, which is super helpful for most customers.
Yeah, I mean, that certainly would help me as an organization, right? If I have a fairly large commit and I also have this other large, say, software expenditure, and I don't have to drum up new budget for it. I can use budget that I'm already going to expend via my cloud provider, right? It kind of makes sense to really shift that avenue. My
Yeah.
CFO won't chew me out for asking for more money.
Yeah. And
So,
customers are incentivized to, you know, say they're going to commit much more than they think that they would spend. So it's like they're
mhm.
getting a higher level discount because they're saying they're going to, commit to more money. And it's like, oh, shoot, now that we've signed this commit contract, now we actually have to spend that much money. Right. And so
Yeah,
they know that they're going to be buying products through the marketplace anyways, or third party products that integrate. So it's a great avenue for them.
no, absolutely. Um, Out of the three providers, right? I think we know that Amazon, Microsoft, and Google are kind of the primary three that have marketplaces. Where are we seeing the most investment in terms of those three marketplaces? Is it Microsoft? Is it Google? Is it Amazon?
I definitely would say it's AWS Marketplace. I mean,
Okay.
they're the most channel and partner friendly. They've created, if anyone was able to attend the reInvent sessions that were just a couple days ago, I mean, they are making massive investments in their partners and ISVs, to just be able to help all of us grow. I mean, it's like a togetherness, type situation. So they're definitely the most far, you know, what, how do I even say it? I mean, they're
They're
basically
leading
leading
the they're
yeah,
leading
they're
the
definitely
space,
leading the
right?
charge. And I would say Microsoft, Azure Marketplace is getting there. They're kind of following I think they've learned like, okay, this cloud provider is doing it right. We're going to start trying to mimic what they're doing. So I would say they're in a close second, and Google is still trying to figure it out. Yeah.
That's okay. We still love Google.
Yeah.
It's okay to be honest with them.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Are there certain softwares or certain types of things that you would say are more favorable to transact through the marketplace? And like I can't go out and buy a Cisco switch through the cloud marketplace, right?
Yep.
So like, what are the types of things that people can look at to acquire through the cloud marketplace?
Since it's mainly, SaaS based, right? So subscriptions. You can also procure professional services. That's also a great option. No hardware is transacted through the marketplace. And I think that there some confusion on what the limitations are, what you can actually buy through marketplace. They're like, oh, I can't buy a server. Oh, okay. And you're like, no, you can buy software subscriptions. But
buy a maintenance contract for that server.
Yep.
Yeah, Dell's not drop shipping you anything through the marketplace, unfortunately. Yeah, no, that's good. It's important, right, to understand. I think as this is very new, it's being very disruptive to a lot of our clients and enterprises, especially on the business side of the house, right? I think technology folks understand it to an extent, but I think really where people are struggling, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here, is kind of more on the business side, right? The finance departments, the AP, those sort of folks. Are you seeing kind of a similar knowledge gap?
Yeah. So, it feels like gone are the days of waiting for a PO, right? So be able to transact through the marketplace is definitely disrupting the way that the procurement process goes. So, historically we've seen, quotes go out, the customer kind of does their negotiating. We work the partnership, with the ISV, and then we kind of come to one, consensus. And then the customer's like, yeah, we want to buy. It goes through procurement, goes through finance. They have to go through their set of approvals, right? And then they get to issue us a PO. Now, where this is the most beneficial, I feel like, because we're coming up to the holiday season, at least when we're filming this, is, we're trying to wait for a PO end of year, end of quarter, procurement stacked up. They're like, oh my gosh, tech folks are like, hey, we want to procure this right away. We need to get secure this pricing.
Budget, yeah.
And then it's like, finance is staying till 6, 7, 8 o'clock, trying to get a PO out. And then so procuring this through marketplace is so much simpler for the procurement process. It takes 5 seconds to press the subscribe button because you've done all the pre-sales in the beginning, right? So you still do the formal quotes and you do all that stuff and iterating your config and what have you. But the process to buy it is so much quicker.
Do you see enterprise procurement folks? We all know as clients kind of move through, procurement's kind of that, I don't know, ultimate red tape, and they do try and beat up partners and ISVs in terms of pricing and all that stuff. Does transacting through the marketplace still have a similar feel, or is it more just like, hey, here it is, it's on the table, you can click subscribe and off you go, or can kind of look somewhere else, or take that long cycle? What's been kind of your experience in dealing with?
Yeah, so it's kind of a two-pronged type thing. So when a customer goes through marketplace directly, they're paying whatever the price is that the ISV or partner has already pre-negotiated and said, this is what we're going to publish as an offering. We're not adjusting to price. The benefit of going through a trace-free or consulting partner is we can provide what we call a CPPO, which is a consulting partner private offer, which allows us to transact in the same way that we did before with custom discounting and negotiation, and you can still go through that. So that process is still pretty similar. But we try to make it where when we're providing the pre-sales process and figuring out what best technology fits for you and your needs, we can go through those discounting and pricing iterations. It's not until after all of that is like, everyone's approved everything that we take it to the marketplace, right? So then it's an easy purchase. They've already said, yes, we're good with pricing. We're going to go ahead and, purchase it.
Do you find that process is still much faster than the traditional PO process?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's shortened from months and months to a few weeks, because most of the time, we can provide all of that, all of the ISV or the configuration requirements up front. They can see the published offering. They kind of know what they're getting. So it's a lot quicker than, hey, I'm interested in buying Palo Alto. Then they come to us and then we provide all the info and it's like, oh, is this really the best technology for us? And then you go through that path. So I think working through Marketplace, people have information so readily available that it's a lot easier to make decisions.
No, it's good. Hey, if I'm a decision maker, the more data that I have at my fingertips, the better.
Yep.
I've certainly heard a lot of talk out there, right? The more information you get sooner, right, the better things make it. Kind of shifting things here, because we've heard all about your awesomeness as it relates to Cloud Marketplace. These first kind of few episodes have been a huge feature of women in tech, and I'm curious in this pivot I want to hear kind of your experiences, your thoughts on women in tech, what you've kind of experienced going through this industry, spending a lot of time in cloud, and where do you see that going from here over the next year, 2 years, and so on?
Yeah, I think I definitely agree. I'm sorry, I forgot her name who you had on earlier, but I really like the way that she said that, we have the mindset of like, oh, there's not a lot of women in tech, but there actually are so much more of us than I think everyone realizes. We're just, I don't want to say more so in the shadows, but we're so like, just doing our stuff and we're not really making, I don't want to say waves. What do I want to say? This is a good question. I wasn't prepared for this.
It's okay. I wanted to catch you slightly off guard, but no, I think you and the other women that we have, inside of our team, inside of Tracery, make a huge impact. All of you do very amazing, unique things. That is fantastic. I've been fortunate enough, I think, to work with pretty much everyone. I've even heard rumblings of a secret communication that all of you have. You don't have to talk about it, but I think that type of sort of community is awesome that you all have and that you get to foster. I haven't necessarily seen it, I think, in a lot of other companies that I've worked at, and I just wanted to make kind of that call out that I think it's very unique.
Being a woman in tech, you feel intimidated a lot more than I think you should naturally. Our confidence in being able to say that we're technical or have an opinion about things that we feel are greater than us, it's, it is challenging, at least for me, in the last few years that I've been in technology. I mean, I've been in tech for a long time. It feels like, I got my degree in a technical background. So I feel like I've been in it for a long time, but I mean, I was one of the only females in all of my classes. So I was like, there's two of us all through my college experience in tech. So it definitely is a little bit of a challenge, and it makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable. You're like, am I making the right choice? Is this the place that I should be? Is this the industry? And then you get into it, and everyone, I mean, for the most part, I've never had like a bad experience. I think, everyone's willing to help each other, male, female, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, but there should always be more of us. I would love more women in tech.
Where do you feel like the industry can be doing better, right? We know there's a lot of charitable organizations out there. There's obviously a big movement, I think, broader. And as you talked about, I think a lot of people stand behind it, but obviously being who we are, we know we're not doing a good enough job. And so in your opinion, is this what you've seen, where can the industry be doing better to foster that confidence that says, hey, you do belong here. You can be amazing at what you do.
Yeah, I think female educators, I think that would be a huge impact for young girls, young women who want to get into the industry. And it's like, I know for my experience, all of my college professors were men. And so it kind of made me feel like, oh, is this not something that women do? Like, and I think really having female educators and kind of showing that this is something that we're capable of doing, I think would be tremendous.
Got it. So I can jog you up as a future instructor?
I mean, I already do that. I'm already an educator. I already teach people about Cloud
Marketplace. You are teaching people.
Yeah.
And you do a fantastic job of it.
Thank you.
Any other final thoughts? It can be women in tech, can be Cloud Marketplace, can be anything. Doing this ridiculous show with me, which I do appreciate.
No, I love it. I'm so glad that we're doing this. I think it's a long time coming. So
It has
praise
been a
off,
long
hats
time
off to
coming.
you. But final thoughts would be, I mean, cloud marketplace is ever changing, right? So what we're talking about today could change tomorrow. I mean, really.
Mhm.
So it's just making sure that you do, some due diligence on your own and some education of like, I think my number one question is like, well, what is cloud? How do we even sell cloud? It's like, okay, well, let's do some Googling, right? Let's
That's
take
good.
some foundational courses and then
Mhm.
let's talk. You know what I mean? So it's like ramping people up to even have a cloud discussion, even like what is cloud, I think is so important. And then, obviously ever changing technology. It's crazy.
Yeah, literally by the hour, it feels like.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Well, Shay, thank you so much for being on the show and teaching all of us about Cloud Marketplace. I think it goes without saying that I speak for all of us that we do truly appreciate you and everything that you do, and so happy that you're on our team and we get to call you a colleague and a friend. So thank you so much. For all of you out there, make sure you stay tuned for our next episode, dropping sometime shortly. And remember, folks, the cloud is calling.